Alright, it's 10:20. Means it's 4:20 somewhere. If you got one, spark up. Baby cat. You're always doing the most. Alright. Back to. Really? He was just sitting there chilling. Why you coming in here fucking with him? Alright. Anyways. Back to the George Carlin audiobook, Brain Droppings. This is part 6. Parts 1 through 5 are in a playlist. Be sure to check those ones out. And let's get to it.
I don't like moths because I can't predict their flight patterns. They don't seem to know where they're going. I don't like that. And they're always hanging around light bulbs. Somehow they're even able to get inside the sealed light fixture between the bulb and the outer glass. How do they do that? One day you can clean out 100 old dead moths and then put the clean globe back on the light, and a month later there'll be another 20 full-grown dead moths inside the globe. How do they get in there? And what is this attraction to light all about anyway? You know what I think they're doing? I think they're trying to read the writing on the light bulb. It's hard to read, isn't it? The writing on the light bulb is placed right where you can't read it when the light is on because the light is too bright. And then when the light is off, you can't read it because there's not enough light. No wonder moths are so fucked up. Whenever I hear about a peacekeeping force, I wonder if they're so interested in peace, why do they use force? My watch stopped. I think I'm down a quartz. Don Ho can sign autographs 3.4 times faster than Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. The truth is, Pavlov's dog trained Pavlov to ring his bell just before the dog salivated. Is the kidney a bean-shaped organ, or is the bean a kidney-shaped legume? Why does Filipino start with an F and Philippines starts with PH? Why do shoelaces only come in certain sizes? How can a color be artificial? I look at red Jell-O and it's just as red as it can be. Why is it the other side of the street always crosses the street when I do? Sometimes when I'm told to use my own discretion, if no one is looking, I'll use someone else's, but I always put it back. I'm tired of television announcers, hosts, newscasters, and commentators nibbling away at the English language, making obvious and ignorant mistakes. If I were in charge of America's broadcast stations and networks, I would gather together all these people whose jobs include speaking to the public, and I would not let them out of the room until they had absorbed the following suggestions. And I'm aware that media personalities are not selected on the basis of intelligence. I know that, and I try to make allowances for it. Believe me, I really try. But still, there are some liberties taken with speech that I think require intervention, if only for my own sake. I won't feel right if this chance goes by and I keep my silence. Number 1, the English word fort, spelled F-O-R-T-E, and meaning specialty or strong point, is not pronounced forte. Got that? It's pronounced fort. The Italian word forte, F-O-R-T-E, used in music notation, is pronounced forte, and it instructs the musician to play loud. She plays the skin flute, and her fort is playing forte. Look it up if you don't believe me. And don't give me that whiny shit. Forte is listed as the second preference. There's a reason it's second, because it's not first. Here's another thing. You hear this all the time. And believe me when I tell you, irony deals with opposites. It has nothing to do with coincidence. If two baseball players from the same hometown on different teams receive the same uniform number, it's not ironic. It's a coincidence. If Barry Bonds attains lifetime statistics identical to his father's, it will not be ironic. It will be a coincidence. Irony is, quote, a state of affairs that is the reverse of what was to be expected, a result opposite to and in mockery of the appropriate result, unquote. For instance, if a diabetic on his way to buy insulin is killed by a runaway truck, he is the victim of an accident. If the truck was delivering sugar, he is the victim of an oddly poetic coincidence. But if the truck was delivering insulin, then he is the victim of an irony. If a Kurd, after surviving a bloody battle with Saddam Hussein's army and a long, difficult escape through the mountains, is crushed and killed by a parachute drop of humanitarian aid, that, my friend, is irony writ large. Darryl Stingley, the pro football player, was paralyzed after a brutal hit by Jack Tatum. Now Darryl Stingley's son plays football, and if the son should become paralyzed while playing, it will not be ironic. It will be coincidental. If Darryl Stingley's son paralyzes someone else, that will be closer to ironic. If he paralyzes Jack Tatum's son, that will be precisely ironic. I'm tired of hearing prodigal being used to mean wandering, given to running away, or leaving and returning. The parable in the book of Luke tells of a son who squanders his father's money. Prodigal means recklessly wasteful or extravagant. And if you say popular usage has changed that, I say fuck popular usage. Here's another one that bothers me. The phrase sour grapes does not refer to jealousy or envy, nor is it related to being a sore loser. It deals with the rationalization of failure to attain a desired end. In the original fable of Aesop, The Fox and the Grapes, when the fox realizes he cannot leap high enough to reach the grapes, he rationalizes that even if he had gotten them, they would probably have been sour anyway. Rationalization. That's all sour grapes means. It doesn't deal with jealousy or sore losing. Yeah, I know, you say, well, many people are using it that way, so the meaning is changing. And I say, well, many people are really fucking stupid, too. Should we just adopt all their standards? Here's another one. Strictly speaking, celibate does not mean not having sex. It means not being married. No wedding. The practice of refraining from sex is called chastity or sexual abstinence. No fucking. Priests don't take a vow of celibacy. They take a vow of chastity, sometimes referred to as the no-nookie clause. And speaking of sex, the Immaculate Conception does not mean Jesus was conceived in the absence of sex. It means Mary, his mother, was conceived without original sin. That's all it has ever meant. And according to the tabloids, Mary is apparently the only one who can make such a claim. The Jesus thing is called virgin birth. Even Catholics get that one wrong. Momentarily means for a moment, not in a moment. The word for in a moment is presently. I will be there presently, Dad, and then, after pausing momentarily, I will kick you in the nuts. No other option and no other alternative are redundant. The words option and alternative already imply otherness. I had no option, Mom. I got this huge erection because there was no alternative. This rule is not optional. The alternative is to be wrong. You should not use criteria when you mean criterion, for the same reason that you should not use criterion when you mean criteria. These is my only criterions. And by the way, a light year is a measurement of distance, not time. It will take light years for young basketball players to catch up with the number of women Wilt Chamberlain has fucked is a scientific impossibility, probably in more ways than one. And a lot of people on television should be told an acronym is not just any set of initials. It applies only to those initials that can be pronounced as words. MAD, DARE, NATO, UNICEF. Those are acronyms. FBI, CIA, and KGB are not. They're just pricks. And I know I'm fighting a losing battle with this one, but I refuse to surrender. Collapsing a building with explosives is not an implosion. An implosion is a very specific scientific phenomenon. The collapsing of a building with explosives is the collapsing of a building with explosives. The explosives explode, and the building collapses inwardly. That is not an implosion. It is an inward collapsing of a building followed by a series of smaller explosions designed to make it collapse inwardly. Period. Fuck you. Here's another pointless, thankless objection I'd like to register. I say it that way because I know you people, and I know your goddamn popular usage slammed the door on this one a long time ago, but here goes anyway. A cop-out is not an excuse, not even a weak one. It is an admission of guilt. When someone cops a plea, he admits guilt to some charge in exchange for better treatment. He has copped out. When a guy says, I didn't get to fuck her because I reminded her of her little brother, he's making an excuse. But if he says, I didn't get to fuck her because I'm an unattractive schmuck, he is copping out. The trouble arises when an excuse contains a small amount of self-incriminating truth. This one is directed to the sports assholes. You are destroying a perfectly good figure of speech. Getting the monkey off one's back does not mean breaking a losing streak. It refers only to ending a dependency. That's all. The monkey represents a strong yen. A losing streak does not compare even remotely, not in a literary sense and not in real life. Here's one that you hear from truly dense people. The proof is in the pudding. Well, the proof is not in the pudding. The rice and the raisins are in the pudding. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. In this case, proof means test. The same is true of the exception that proves or tests the rule. Boy, these things piss me off. Here we go. An eye for an eye is not a call for revenge. It's an argument for fairness. In the time of the Bible, it was standard to take a life in exchange for an eye. But the Bible said no. The punishment should fit the crime. Only an eye for an eye, nothing more. It is not vindictive. It is mitigatory. Don't make the same mistake twice seems to indicate three.
Who was it? Carlin, British rapper. Said, eye for an eye, whole world goes blind. Or just leave me alone, we'll all be fine.
Mistakes, doesn't it? First you make the mistake, then you make the same mistake, then you make the same mistake twice. If you simply say, don't make the same mistake, you'll avoid the first mistake. Unique needs no modifier. Very unique, quite unique, more unique, real unique, fairly unique, and extremely unique are wrong, and they mark you as dumb, although certainly not unique. Healthy does not mean healthful. Healthy is a condition, healthful is a property. Vegetables aren't healthy, they're dead. No food is healthy, unless you have an eggplant that's doing push-ups. Push-ups are healthful. There is no such thing or word as kudo. Kudos, K-U-D-O-S, is a singular noun meaning praise, and it is properly pronounced kudos. There is also a plural form spelled the same, but pronounced kudos. Please stop telling me so-and-so picked up another kudo today. Here's another one that bothers me. When they say race, creed, or color, that's wrong. Race and color, as used in that phrase, describe the same property. And creed is a stilted, outmoded way of saying religion. Leave this tired phrase alone. It has lost its usefulness. Besides, it reeks of insincerity no matter who uses it. As of yet is simply stupid. As yet, I've seen no progress on this one, but of course I'm speaking as of now. Here's one you can win some money on in a bar if you're within reach of the right reference book. Chomping at the bit and old stomping ground are incorrect. Some Saturday afternoon when you're getting bombed on your old stamping ground, you'll be champing at the bit to use this one. Sorry to sound so picky, folks, but I listen to a lot of radio and TV, and these things have bothered me for a long time.
That's a good spot. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. I just learned a whole lot right there. Some of those things I knew, but a lot of those things, George always dropping knowledge. Um, yeah. Let me know what you thought. If you got any more George suggestions, go ahead and leave those in the comments. Other than that, y'all have a nice night. Thanks for watching. Stay blazing.